When life gets hard, our politics get real simple. And when life gets simple, our politics get real complex. And that means that when you're struggling to pay your bills each month, you're living paycheck to paycheck, when you're trying to make doctor's appointments and looking at doctor's bills and trying to pay tuition and trying to pay gas, when you got all the pressures of life on you, it becomes really easy to pick a side and to not dig into the nuances of politics and to dig into the nuances of your own individual politics and what that actually means. That when life is difficult for us, it is easier for us to choose a side than it is for us to identify issues and investigate those issues and take principled stances on those particular issues because that's what we've thought about versus what we've been fed. And we've taken critical thinking out of much of the debate and discourse because there's so much debate and discourse that goes on, and much of it doesn't really add much to the conversation. So, for instance, when you talk about immigration, instead of talking about immigration, we'll talk about the border. It's easier for us to say, oh, well, we need strong borders and ICE raids versus saying we need secure borders and we need immigration policy that works for Americans, not for the people who are trying to immigrate, but works for Americans. Because the people who are immigrating to this country should be immigrating for the reason of becoming a citizen, of becoming a productive member of this society. So, what is it that the American people gain as a result of these people coming into the country? That's how every other country does it. That's how every other intelligent population does it. What can you really do for me? How are you going to make my life better? Not just what can you get from me? Having that kind of stance, a lot of the debate is missed on that because people don't have the attention spans. And the reason why we don't have the attention spans is because we're running off of emotion. We're running off emotion. When life is hard, I much rather utilize all my mental capacity on solving the very real problems and very present problems in my life. And because I'm upset about where I am in my life, because I'm upset that I'm not making the kind of money that I'm supposed to make, I'm upset that I didn't get the position that I felt that I was supposed to get, because I'm upset about those things, I'm feeling powerless in those things, I'm feeling frustrated in those things, that I can take that frustration and put it in the political discourse and put it in these issues, these tribal debates that really don't bring me anything, but they are a place where I can get my emotions out. And that's what we're seeing here in America is the emotions of America were suppressed so much during COVID that now everybody is really expressing how they feel, but not necessarily critically thinking about the positions that they hold.
One thing that I see is that many of the pundits, the people who are speaking out, are becoming leaders. In leadership, you have people who are leading public thought, who are leading an audience versus informing an audience. When you look at individuals like Candace Owens, who are pundits, people who talk about politics daily, you don't necessarily want your pundits to be leaders because your pundits have loud mouths, but they may not necessarily have the integrity of maintaining real thought out positions.
And with your leaders, you want them having well thought out positions. You want them confident and you want them having well thought out positions. And they can be loud about it or not, but really what helps is if they're a good communicator of those well thought out positions. Whereas with pundits are usually just operating off of what they feel in the moment versus any real depth of thought, any real considerable thought. So what they may have thought today, they might get some new information and think totally different tomorrow. That becomes challenging for vocal leaders that when their stances on things flip flop. And that doesn't breed stability in your system. When things are difficult in America, our politics become real simple. We talk about the border instead of the constitutional violations of immigration policy and constitutional violations of ICE raids, instead of talking about the declaration of war by the US president, which is goes against the Constitution. We talk about, we're worried that Iran or North Korea or anybody else has missiles that can reach the homeland. That we are willing to be moved by our emotions than we are by sound logic. And that's human nature.